OS Basics.
Evolution of Unix and Unix-like. History of Unix or Unix-like. Originally developed in 1969 at Bell Lab, it was first written in assembly, then ported to C. Swapped a lot of Unix-like systems such as Linux, FreeBSD, Mac OS X, etc. Unix was designed to be portable, multitasking, and multi-user in a time-sharing configuration. One of the biggest reasons for using Unix is networking capability. This is the tree diagram of Unix family. Evolution of Linux. Before Linux, in 80s, Microsoft DOS was dominated OS for PC. Apple Mac was better but expensive. Unix was much better but much more expensive. Only for mini computer for commercial application. People was looking for a Unix based system which is cheaper and can run on PC. Both DOS, Mac and Unix were proprietary, that is, the source code of their kernel is protected. No modification is possible without paying high license fees. Beginning of Linux. A famous professor, Andrew, developed Minix, a simplified version of Unix that ran on PC. Minix is for class teaching only, no intention for commercial use. In September 1991, Linus Torvalds, a second year of student computer science at the University of Helsinki, developed a preliminary kernel of Linux known as Linux version 0.0.1. History. The official mascot of Linux kernel is Tux. On January 22, 2007, the Unix Foundation was formed, focusing on promoting GNU or Linux. GNU or Linux is distributed in the form of collection of specific packages called distributions. Distributions can be free or commercial. Linux today. Linux has been used for many computing platforms: PC, PDA, supercomputer. Not only character user interface but graphical user interface is available. Commercial vendor moved in Linux itself to provide freely distributed code. They make their money by compiling up various software and gathering them in a distributable format like Red Hat, Slackware, etc. Evolution of Mac OS. This diagram is related to the history of Mac OS. Mac OS background. It consists Darwin, which have open source Mac 3.0 BSD core services. History. On January 24, 1984, Apple Computer introduced the Macintosh personal computer with the Macintosh 128K model, which came bundled with what the later named to Mac OS. The Macintosh is generally credited with popularizing the graphical user interface. Mac OS has been pre-installed on almost every Macintosh computer sold. The original Macintosh system software was partially based on the Lisa OS, previously released by Apple for the Lisa computer in 1983, and a part of an agreement allowing Xerox to buy share in Apple at a favorable price. Release. The first version of Mac OS is easily distinguished between other operating systems from the same period because it does not use a command line interface. It was one of the first operating systems to use the entirely graphical user interface. Additional to the system kernel in the Finder, an application used for file management which allowed display the desktop. The two files were contained in a folder directory labeled system folder, which contained other resource files like a printer driver needed to interact with the system. Initially restricted to run on PowerPC processor, transition to Intel processor announced on 2005. In 2009 completely dropped support for the PowerPC. support both 32 and 64 version based on Darwin and run on XNU kernel. Evolution of Windows OS. MS-DOS, Microsoft Disk Operating System, originally developed by Microsoft for IBM, MS-DOS was the standard operating system for IBM-compatible personal computer, Windows 1.0 or 2. Introduced in 1985, Microsoft Windows 1 was named due to the computing boxes. In 1987, Microsoft released Windows 2, which was designed for the Intel 286 processor, Windows 3.0 and 3.1. Microsoft released Windows 3.0 in May 1900, offering better icons performance and advanced graphics with 16-color design for Intel 386 processor. Windows 95, a major release of Microsoft Windows operating system released in 1995. Windows 95 represents a significant advance over its processor Windows 3.1. Windows 98. Windows 98 offers support for a number of new technology including FAT32, AGP, USB, DVD. Its visible feature through is the Active Desktop, which integrates the web browser with the operating system. Windows Millennium Edition. The Windows Millennium Edition Windows ME was an update to the Windows 98 core and included some feature of Windows 2000 operating system. The version also removed the boot in DOS option. Windows NT 31 and 4.0, a version of the Windows operating system. Windows NT is a 32-bit operating system that supports primitive multitasking. Windows 2000, often abbreviated as W2K. Windows 2000 is an operating system for business desktop and laptop system to run software application, connect to internet and intranet sites, and access file printer and network resources. Windows XP. Windows XP was the first introduced in 2001 along with the redesigned look and feel to the user interface. A new operating system is built on the Windows 2000 kernel, giving the user more stable, reliable environment than the previous version of Windows. Windows Vista. Windows Vista offers an advancement in reliability, security, ease of deployment, performance, and manageability over Windows XP. Windows 7. Windows 7 made its official debut to the public on October 22, 2009 at the latest in the 25th-year-old line of Microsoft Windows operating system and a successor to Windows Vista. Windows 7 was released in conjunction with Windows Server 2008 R2. Windows 7 Server counterpart enhancement and new feature in Windows 7 include multi-touch support, Internet Explorer 8, improved performance and startup time. Windows 8. Windows 8 is a completely redesigned operating system that has been developed from the ground up with touch screen use in mind as well as near instant on capabilities that enable a Windows 8 PC to load and start up in a matter of seconds rather than in minutes. Windows 8 will replace the most traditional Microsoft Windows OS look feel with a new Metro design system interface that first debuted in the Windows Phone 7 mobile operating system. Summary: bootstrapping, initial set of operation when the computer is opened. It transfers control to the OS. Operating system, responsible for managing both software and hardware resources. Its components, user interface, processes, kernel, device drivers. Here is the small quiz you can try and enjoy it.